Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 55-year-old Kentucky resident Damon Beckley posted a lot of violent statements and threats online prior to the Capitol attack. On December 23rd of 2020, Beckley posted on Facebook, quote, "These people are begging for a Charlie Hebdo-style massacre," all in caps. "I will not be sad if it happens. You people deserve it. Zuckerberg, Obama, your days are numbered for this tyranny." So this Charlie Hebdo massacre that he's referring to was an attack at the offices of a French newspaper. There were 2 gunmen. They murdered 12 people. There were 11 others who were injured. So this Beckley guy has a major, let's call it an affinity. We'll call it an affinity. So for anyone who doesn't want to hear about his member. And so I don't get demonetized, but OPP, how can I explain it? So anyway, he has an affinity for this massacre, as you're going to hear. Beckley posted about this over and over again. In another post in December of 2020, Beckley replied to someone else's post about COVID relief. They had just passed the COVID relief package. And Beckley replies, quote, "It's not a slap in the face. It's a dare for hardened patriots to Charlie Hebdo these traitors and end their audacious tyranny." Then on December 27th of 2020, Beckley wrote in part, quote, "Congress should be pulled into the DC streets, Gaddafi style." So obviously referring to the anal stabbing and brutal murder and beatdown of dictator Gaddafi, which I have no problem with, but yeah, that's what he wants to do with our Congress members. The next day, Beckley messaged someone on Facebook and he brought up the mass murder again. He wrote, quote, if we can't get it done, it'll be time to Charlie Hebdo and bitches." So on January 6th, Beckley was seen illegally entering the Capitol. He entered just 1 minute after the East Rotunda doors were breached. And Beckley made his way through various parts of the building. He eventually ended up in a confrontation with the police who were guarding an area right outside of the House chamber. So the mob surged forward. They violently forced their way past the officers, and Beckley, they said, made physical contact with an officer as he was pushing past him. He was right up front when other members of the mob were smashing in the glass panels of the House chamber door, and they were chanting, "Break it down." So this isn't the doors to the House chamber where Ashley Babbitt was killed. This was a separate entrance. So officers inside of the House chamber drew their weapons. You probably have seen these photos. They were pointing their weapons at the mob. They were pointing them through the broken windows. And so Beckley was recording at the time. He recorded a 9-minute video while all of this was going down. And in this video, you could see and hear the officers telling everyone, "You need to leave." So Beckley told the officers, quote, "Open the door, brother. Come on, man. Open the door. I don't want to get shot, man. Really, please. We just want our grievances redressed like the Constitution says. That's all." Yeah. I'm sure the guy who is obsessed with a mass murder just wants to come in and talk. Just wants to shoot the shit with the lawmakers. That's all. Eventually, additional officers arrived. They were able to maneuver to the front of the crowd. They pushed Trump's terrorists back. And as an officer was trying to usher everyone away, Beckley got in that officer's face and he yelled at him, quote, "Don't push on me, man. I'm moving." So Beckley exited the building at that point. He remained on the Capitol grounds, though, and he posted a video admitting to his crimes. A while later, he re-entered the Capitol, and in another video where you could see officers trying to force everyone out, Beckley was heard yelling, quote, Let's go. Come on. Let's push these fucks through. Then Beckley records another selfie-style video, and he admits even more crimes. He said, quote, "So we're inside the Capitol building, okay? These traitors pointed their 9mm in my face. We tried to get in the congressional chamber, and they shoved 9mm through the glass that we broke out. Actually, somebody else broke it out. But I stood there and pushed that guy out of the way so he wouldn't get shot." I mean, I can't even count how many of these people now have made themselves out to be some sort of hero. They're like, I'm so brave. I'm the one and true hero of January 6th. You know how many lives I saved? Anyway, no evidence that a single one of them was brave. But anyway, about a minute later, Beckley was recording when he got into a heated discussion with an officer, and the police were still trying to force everybody out. They were still pushing the mob towards the doors. Beckley was physically obstructing them. He was refusing to move. And eventually, the police won. Eventually, they were able to move Beckley and the others out of the building. So this was his second time out. He was interviewed when he got outside, and Beckley said, quote, "We're not putting up with this tyrannical rule. If we got to come back here and start a revolution and take all of these traitors out, which is what should be done, then we will." So Beckley was arrested on January 16th of 2021, and in a superseding indictment, he was charged with obstructing an official proceeding, civil disorder, entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol. Beckley refused a plea deal. He opted for a stipulated bench trial, and in February of 2023, Beckley was found guilty of obstructing an official proceeding and civil disorder, both of which are felonies. So based on the obstruction charge alone, Beckley was looking at up to 20 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The government requested only 37 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. This guy deserves far more time in prison, and I'm going to tell you why. He has a history of violence, and he's been given a complete and total pass on all of it. In 2002, Beckley was charged with 4th-degree aggravated assault, spousal abuse, after he grabbed and shoved his ex-wife and he injured her. That case was dismissed in 2003. And then in 2016, Beckley was charged with 2nd-degree assault, 2nd-degree robbery, and 2nd-degree wanton endangerment. This incident you are not going to believe. It involved a 74-year-old woman, and there was another victim as well. Evidently, this elderly woman hired Beckley to do work at her home. Beckley took her money, and then he didn't do the work. So the woman hired another person. That person is victim 2. So Beckley shows up at this woman's house. He demands that she return his tools because apparently they were still there. And the woman told him basically, okay, I'll give you your tools, but you have to refund my money. So Beckley picks up a piece of decking lumber and he swings it at this 74-year-old woman. So victim 2, obviously another contractor, tries to stop him. And then Beckley hits that guy in the back of the head with a drywall brace. Then Beckley steals some of the guy's tools and he leaves. So that man allegedly suffered a seizure. He had injuries to his hand, obviously his head. But the prosecutor ended up dismissing the case because the 74-year-old woman ended up having some sort of health issue and she couldn't testify in court. So, yeah. Beckley is the quintessential MAGA man. Again, we don't have to wonder why some of these people support Trump. It is painfully obvious. So, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg presided over Beckley's case, and when all was said and done, Beckley was sentenced to 18 months in prison, 1 year of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. I'm pretty shocked. Judge Boasberg is one of the tougher January 6th judges, and he often gives the prosecutor what they're asking for. Sometimes he even goes above and beyond. So I am really surprised that Beckley only received 18 months, especially after being convicted of 2 felonies. Maybe if he took a plea deal, but after you waste the court's time, I think you should absolutely get a much greater sentence. I think it should be doubled. I think it should be automatic. If you're found guilty, whatever we offered you, it's going to be at least doubled. So anyway, I will let you all know when I hear more about this guy because I just have a feeling. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, please subscribe if you have not. Please become a donor if you possibly can, or leave a tip or super thanks. Really means the world to me. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.